Good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon in Kenya, Africa, I don't know, in the other places it might be the evening or it might be in the morning. I'm going to take you through tips of biology paper 1. That is for all the students who are preparing or from, let's say, from 2, 3, 4, who are preparing for KCSE exams. So I'll just give the tips by looking at the common mistakes. The common mistakes, there is a cock which is disturbing. So there is a cock which was disturbing, and let's continue. So the common mistakes in paper 231/1, I don't know, I think it is still the way they name the paper in KCSE, Kenyan Education System, is leaving gaps in questions. Avoid leaving gaps and write what you think the answer should be. Just write what you think. Don't leave any gap. Even if the question looks like you don't know anything, just write what you think might be the answer. Number 2 is poor mastery of content. Do your revision thoroughly by using KCSE past papers to gain confidence. Next is failure to present the biological information in their responses in the conventional way. So the students don't present the biological information in the conventional way. For example, in cell physiology, cells gain water by osmosis, and not cells absorb water by osmosis. You see, these are two different things. The student might be thinking that this is a concept they got. They have the idea of water moving in. Okay? So it's gaining water by osmosis and not absorbing water by osmosis. See the difference, guys? You see what I mean? Next is poor performance on practical-based questions. So, practical, paper 3, and I have a video on paper 3, you can look at my channel. More emphasis should be put in doing more practicals, because the theory papers ask questions sometimes related to practicals. The next thing is over-reliance on some revision materials in the market containing wrong biological information. So before you buy anything for revision, consult your teacher or you consult somebody who understands that subject. That is, vet the revision materials. Use of marking mechanics to answer questions is another area. All right? So, make answers as precise as possible. Marks suggest the points. So if you see 3 marks, you are giving 3 points. If you see 5 marks, you are giving 5 points, and so on. 10 marks, you know that the examiner requires 10 points. Avoid overemphasis on a given point to prevent contradicting information. So don't overemphasize. If you are asked for this answer, just go straight to the answer and give it. Use of plural and singular, especially in diagrams, is another area students make mistakes. Like nucleus, instead of nuclei, when describing double fertilization. You are not going to talk about nucleus. You talk about nuclei because it is the nuclei which fuse. All right? Double rebel lines require the word to be plural and not singular. Then, tied questions. Response and reasons are tied. So when you give the answer, the reason, you give the answer which is wrong and the reason is correct, you don't get anything. Understand the terms used. So if the question tells you state, just give a brief correct statement. Don't go on elaborating. Name. When the question tells you to name, a chemical formula is not a name. All right? So you don't give chemical formulas. Like CO2 is not a name. So when you are told to name, give the name, not the formulas. Give. When you are told to give, you are just being asked to give a brief reason for a certain observation. Very brief reason. When you are asked what, respond with a brief statement. Explain. Elaborate the points by explaining. So each point, explain. Each point, you explain. Differentiate. Here, give a very clear distinction between whatever you are differentiating, because they are no half marks. So if you don't differentiate properly, you don't get a full mark. Distinguish. Give very clear distinction. Identify. Just writing the correct name with no explanation. Just the name. Don't explain. Identify. Give the name. Describe. You must use correct biological knowledge in the correct sequence. Describe progressively by stating from one point to end at a certain point. For example, the cell gains water by osmosis. The cell enlarges. List. Write the facts without giving explanations. So, list. Write the facts without giving explanations. Just write the facts. Define. Use conventional definition as much as possible. Do not use your own words. Use the conventional language. Definition is a definition. You cannot twist. Why? So there was a slight problem when you were told why, just state the reason. So guys, with those few remarks, I hope you are not going to have any problems with biology paper 1. Just internalize what I've told you. Goodbye, and let me see you in my next video, which is biology paper 2.